Hey there, we are now looking at division of a polynomial by a monomial. But if you know how to do a monomial by a monomial, this is a no-brainer, because all we're going to do is break up these big, scary looking questions into individual questions, and it's all good. So, method: break polynomial into separate terms and divide each term by the monomial. Don't be lazy. That's the biggest mistake I see with students in this question. So what I'm saying is do this. Rewrite it. Break it into parts. Signs come straight down the way they are. And then you just do each one. Whoops, I'm going to work down. 9 divided by 3 is 3. B squared divided by B is B. Subtract. 15 minus 3 is 5. And the b's cancel out. And there we go. 2 terms. A little hint: if there are 2 terms up here, your answer will normally have 2 terms. The only time, there's rare exceptions, if I make up a crazy question trying to mess you up, then you might get a different number of terms. If this was 9b squared and 15b squared and you didn't see me in step number 1, you could have combined like terms. Then at the end, you just double check. But these are not like terms, so I can't put them together. 6x squared over 2x plus 4x over 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x is x. Bring my sign down. 4 divided by 2. And my x's cancel out. Boom, done. Boom. It's easy, guys. Now, why do I have to write that out? Well, you don't have to, but I've found in the past my best students are the ones that take the extra 2 or 3 seconds to write them out like this so that they don't miss steps. That's what happens. You accidentally miss stuff, or you'll divide this into this and then you forget to do the rest, and that's just a bad thing. But if you do this over 2x over 2x over minus 12 over x, 2x, you're not going to miss that step. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. X cubed divided by x is going to be x squared, plus 20 divided by 2 is 10. X minus 12 divided by 2. I lost an x. There we go. Is 6. And just like before, if you wanted to, or if you were required to, you can always do a check. So you take your answer and you multiply it by your divisor, the thing you divide it by, or denominator in this case, the way it's written. And you can check it out. So if I go 2x times 2x squared plus 10x minus 6, and then we distribute property. 2 times 2 is 4. X times x squared is x to the third. 2x times 10x is plus 20x squared. And 2 times minus 6 is minus 12x. And that is that. We've got matchy-matchy. So my question's right. Oh, this is getting ugly. 81 M3. I think we're all good. I'm just going to do a double check. 3, 2, and a 5, and a nothing and an 8. All right. 81 divided by 9 is 9. M to the third divided by m is m squared. N squared cancel out. Minus 45 divided by 9 is 5. Notice you can just bring your signs down. You can also think of it in terms as minus 45 divided by 9 is minus 5. Whatever. M squared divided by m is just m, and n to the 5th divided by n squared is n3. And minus 27 divided by 9 is 3. Those cancel. N squared, n to the 8th divided by n squared, we're going to subtract, and we get n6. Yeah. Now, before I go further, I want to point out 2 terms with a negative, 2 terms with a negative, 2 terms with a positive, check. 3 terms, it was positive and a negative, and it's a positive and a negative. And those were both negatives, and they came down. The most common error that I make and students make is sign errors. If you are dividing by a positive, the signs match. However, tricky down here. I'm going to be dividing by a negative this time, so I got to watch my signs. So 36. Now, notice I got to bring the negative down here too. So 36 divided by 18 should be 2, negative 2. A to the 5 divided by a squared is a3. And b7 divided by b7, that's just going to cancel out. A negative divided by another negative gives me a positive. 54 divided by 18, I'm sure that's, yeah, I don't know. 54 divided by 18, 3, yes. 3, a4 divided by a squared is a squared, and b8 divided by b7 is just plain old b. Now, my brain said, pay attention. When I saw that negative there, so now I'm just going to double check my final answer. And in this case, my signs flip. Okay, so if up here you divided, let's look at this one. If you divided by a positive, your signs come down, lovely, matchy. If you divide by a negative, they flip. Most common error that students make is missing that sign change. So make sure you change at the very end of your question, or check at the end of your question. All right, 100, negative 105, C5. A negative divided by a negative becomes positive. Whoops. It'll become positive right away. So this step when I split, don't worry about your signs, just bring it down exactly the way it is. So a negative divided by a negative is going to be positive. 105 divided by 7. So we got 15. C5 divided by C8 is going to be C to the minus 3. And we'll just bring the 10 along because there's nothing to do with the D. Now a negative divided by a negative is positive. 75 divided by 7. Oh, better check that. No. All right. 10.71. Okay. At the beginning of this worksheet, there was no instructions at all about how to round. So I just generally do 2 decimal places just because habit. So it's 714, and the 4 doesn't make the 1 get bigger, so 10.71. And then we're going to get C to the minus 4, D12, E7. And ta-da! That is not the end of the worksheet. There is one sitting right down here. Oh, this one, because of the way it's written. I'm just going to cheat and do that. But I'm still splitting up, right? So 15 divided by 3 is 3. A4 divided by A is A3. B7 divided by B to the first is B6. Minus 24 divided by 3 is 8. A3, B8. Now, here is one of those things that students mess up with. They think they're done because that cancels. Well, no. Plus 1. Because anything divided by itself is still the 1. Now, there's a couple of reasons. First one, there are 3 terms. And what I started with, there should be 3 terms in what I end with. That's usually the quickest way. But if you do a check, let's just say 3AB times, 3A3 B6 minus 8A3 B8. Now, I'm just going to pretend, I'm not going to finish writing this, that's just, let's just say that's as far as you went. And you're being a paranoid mathematician, and you're going to check. So we're going to use the distributive property. 3 times 3 is 9. A times A third is A to the 4th. And B times B6 is B7. Okay, well, were you guys yelling at me that I screwed up? You should have been. How about 15 divided by 3 is 5? Oopsies. I so hate doing math in pen, but you guys can't see my pencil. So that should have been 5. And then that becomes 15. A4, B7, A4, B7. Cool. Let's try it again. 3 times negative 8 is minus 24. A times A to the third is A to the 4th. And B times B8 is B9. Yeah, no, much better. This minus 24, A4, B9. Right. But are we done? No. Look at your question. This whole chunk is missing from there. So that's why we need the plus 1 at the end. So then 3AB times 1. And then we are back to where we started. So you can see it's a good idea to check. I'd really like to convince you that 15 divided by 3, what I did here was on purpose, but no, I screwed up. My bad. But, you know, I look at that as a silly math error. Oops, I did the wrong division. But the process and all the work was all right, so half-mark deduction. But if you missed this part on this question, if it's maybe worth 4 marks, that might be worth 2. That was the point of the question, to make sure you know what to do with that. So don't lose that term. So 1, 2, 3 terms. 1, 2, 3 terms. And I divide it by a positive, so matchy, matchy. It's all good. Math is awesome.